A very good evening, friends. I welcome you all to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by the Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 2nd March 2024. Here are the list of articles which we are going to discuss today. But before entering our discussion, I have an important announcement to make. The much awaited annual compilation of important topics of different subjects, Shankar's Summary, is back. In this initiative, we are coming up with the important topics which are very crucial. In this initiative, we are coming up with the different topics which are very important for your preliminary exams. Starting with geography, we are planning to cover important topics from the various subjects. You can access this initiative from March 11, 2024. With this, let us get into first news article discussion today. Look at this article. Indian Meteorological Department IMD have predicted India to experience warmer summer this year due to particular condition called El Nino. In addition to this, India is likely to see above normal maximum and minimum temperatures in most part of the country from March to May. See, this is the crux of the article. With this, let us understand some basics about El Nino, La Nina and ENSO from our prelims perspective. Firstly, let us understand about ENSO in a brief. See, El Nino and associated southern oscillation is shortly called ENSO. See, ENSO is one of the most important climate phenomenon which influences the temperature and precipitation across the globe. Though ENSO is a single climatic phenomenon, it has three states or phases. Know that it has two opposite phases, El Nino and La Nina, and it also has a neutral phase. Okay, with this, let us move on to understand about El Nino and La Nina in a brief. So what is El Nino? To understand this, we have to first understand how the weather pattern works in the normal years. Look at this map. This is the ocean current pattern during the normal years. Here, you can notice a cold current near the Peruvian coast. This is called Peru current. So in a normal year, the sea surface temperature in the eastern part of the Pacific is cold. On the contrary, in the El Nino event, the sea surface temperature in the central and eastern tropical Pacific Ocean becomes substantially higher than the normal. In other words, a warm ocean current temporarily replaces the cold Peruvian current. See, this warm current starts flowing during the Christmas. Therefore, a baby Christ was given the name to this event. That is, El Nino in a Spanish word means the child and refers to baby Christ. See, this oceanic event is associated with the changes in the pressure pattern is called southern oscillation. As I have mentioned before, El Nino and associated southern oscillation is shortly called ENSO. Now, let us understand about the impacts of El Nino on Indian weather patterns. See, the Indian Ocean is warmer than the adjoining ocean, so it has relatively low pressure. Hence, moisture-laden winds move from the near western part of Pacific to the Indian Ocean, and thereby it brings monsoon. But if this normal pressure distribution is affected for some reasons like El Nino, then subsequently monsoons are getting affected. So ultimately, know that El Nino means lesser than average rainfall for India. Okay, with this basic, now let us move on to understand about what is La Nina. See, it means the large scale cooling of the ocean surface temperature in the central and eastern equatorial Pacific Ocean, which is together associated with the changes in the tropical atmospheric circulation, that is winds, pressures, rainfall, etc. Know that this has the opposite impact on the weather and the climate compared to El Nino. El Nino, which is the warmer phase of the ENSO. Okay, now let us understand about the weather changes due to La Nina. See, Eastern Africa is forecast to see drier than the usual conditions leading to locust infestation, whereas Southeast Asia, some part of Pacific Island and the northern part of South America are expected to receive above average rainfall. That is, for India, La Nina means the country will receive more rainfall than the normal, which may also lead to floods. See, this is the basics about El Nino and La Nina. So with this basics, let us move on to the next article. Look at this article. The Indian economy remains active with a notable increase of 12.54% in the gross GST collections. See, it reached 1.68 trillion in February. Moreover, the consumer confidence is also in the positive territory, reflected in the annual growth rate of car and two-wheeler sales. This article notes that the car sales in the wholesale market saw a notable 11% year-on-year increase, reaching 3,73,000 units. See, this marks the highest for the second month in the calendar year and third highest overall. See, moreover, the manufacturing sector experienced growth in February driven by expansion in the new export orders and reduction in the pricing prices. See, this is the crux of the article. This article gives a rosy picture of growing Indian economy. Okay. With this, in our discussion, let us saw about the significance of GST using our mains answer writing approach. Look at the syllabus. It comes under GS paper 2. Now, let me read the mains question. Explain the significance of 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. To what extent does it reflect the accommodative spirit of federalism? See, the question demands us two things. One is to explain the significance of 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. And secondly, it also asks us to explain how Amendment Act reflects the accommodative spirit of federalism. So we can split the body part into two parts. Okay, now let us start with the introduction. Here we can write about some basics of GST. See, the 101st Constitutional Amendment Act of 2016 enabled the introduction of Goods and Service Tax (GST) in India, which is a destination-based indirect tax, replacing the erstwhile complex cascading system of multiple indirect taxes, which are levied separately by both central and state governments. See, this was aimed to streamline the indirect tax structure and create one nation, one tax and one market in India. In this way, you can give a simple introduction to 2 or 3 lines. Moreover, you can also add some points like GST replaced the previous complex taxes, which had 17 different taxes and surcharges like sales tax, VAT, service tax, etc. Okay, this is about the introduction. Now let us move on to the body part. Here, we can split the body part into 2 parts. In the first part, let us talk about the significance of GST. Firstly, GST introduced simplified tax structures. See, it has simplified the India's complex tax structures by replacing the multiple indirect taxes with a single unified tax, thus enhancing the ease of doing business. Secondly, it led to the foundation of unified national market. See, GST created a unified national market by eliminating cascading taxes and other trade barriers which exist between the states, and moreover, by doing so, it boosted the interstate trade and commerce. Thirdly, it resulted in reduced tax evasion. See, GST has self-policing mechanism with robust digital infrastructure. So this makes it more difficult for the businessman to evade the taxes. Moreover, this has encouraged previously informal businesses to register and comply with the tax regulations. Fourthly, there was increased tax revenue and helped in the formalization of Indian economy. See, GST has boosted domestic tax revenue for both central and state governments. Higher tax buoyancy from GST will help fund domestic social and infrastructure projects. See, the tax bases expanded rapidly after the implementation of GST. Know that 6.6 lakh new agents previously outside the tax regime have been brought under the GST regime. Moreover, it has also implemented e-way bill system, which has helped to simplify the transportation of products across the states. Fifthly, GST increased the revenue of consumerist states. See, since GST is a destination-based tax, it is expected to boost the revenues for the consumerist states which may not have had a strong manufacturing base. Example, UP and Bihar. Moreover, Central also introduced a GST compensation mechanism guaranteeing a 14% revenue buoyancy to the states from their base year. Okay, these are all the significance of GST. Now moving on to discuss how implementation of GST reflected the accommodative spirit of federalism. Firstly, about consensus building. See, GST was introduced after thorough consultation and bargaining between wherein center and states both let go of their exclusive power of taxation and agreed for a unified tax structure covering both goods and services. See, center guaranteed states a clear revenue visibility to address their concern during the initial years of implementation of GST. Secondly, about revenue and adjudication sharing. See, GST revenue and adjudication is shared in a predefined formula between center and states. This will allow mutual trust and predictability between center and states in implementing the GST. Thirdly, dual structure. The dual structure of GST, consisting of central GST and state GST, reflects the federalism in action. See, the division of tax revenue collection between the central and state governments allow each level of government to independently levy and collect the taxes on the same transaction. Okay. The fourth and important one is GST Council. See, it's a constitutional body with a joint representation from both center and state revenue ministers, which takes all important decisions for GST. So, it is giving both center and states a say in the implementation of the tax. Know that all the decisions of GST Council have been taken by consensus despite a mechanism of voting which is existing. See, this is reflecting a trust of center and states in addressing the differences. For example, the rationalization of tax rates on several items over the years have been made by taking a suggestion from the different states. However, there are some concerns regarding the issues with the federal spirit with the GST regime. This is all about the main body of the answer. Now moving on to the conclusion, we can write some concerns against the federal spirit which is ingrained in the GST regime can also be mentioned in the conclusion part. Okay, now let us see how we can write the conclusion. Here we can mention a few criticism about GST with respect to federalism, like central government has disproportionate voting share which makes it effectively enjoy a veto on all the decisions. Secondly, central government's move back on compensation mechanism is hurting the various manufacturing states. Thirdly, central government usually sets the agenda of GST Council which is violating the federal principles. On one side, the implementation of GST strengthened the federalism, but on the other side, it has some issues that needs to be addressed with the effective consultation and cooperation between the center and states. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about two important points, that is significance of GST, and in the second part, we saw how it is impacting the federalism. Okay, with these learned points, let us conclude this discussion and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this Indian Express article. Indian economy grew at a faster rate than expected in the third quarter of the fiscal 2023-24, reaching a growth rate of 8.4%. See, this was higher than the RBI's prediction of 6.5%. The strong performance raised the expected growth rate for the entire year from 7.3 to 7.6%. But one important enigma to be noted is that there is a big difference between the growth rate of GDP, which is 8.4%, and GVA, which is 6.5%. See, this marks the largest gap in 10 years, that is at the rate of 190 basis points. So, in our discussion, let us see why there is a huge gap, and moreover, we can discuss about the basics of GDP and GVA from the preliminary perspective. Okay, firstly, what is GDP? See, gross domestic product measures the total value of all goods and services produced over a specific period of time within the country's boundaries. Okay, to put it simply, it's like measuring how much the entire country has earned from its economic activities. See, India calculates its GDP in three main ways. First one is production approach, which adds up the GVAs or value added at each stage of production across different sectors like agri, manufacturing, services, etc. This approach focuses on the supply side. Second one is expenditure approach, which measures the total spending on the country's final goods and services. It includes consumption by households, investment by businesses, governmental spending, and net exports. Third one is the income approach, which sums up all the income earned by individuals and businesses in the country, including wages, profits, and taxes minus subsidies. Okay, with this, let us see the second concept called gross value added. See, GVA gives a picture of the economy from the supply side. It measures the value added by each sector like agri, industry, and services to the economy. So what is value added? See, value added is the difference between the output and the intermediate consumption. That is, inputs like raw material and services used to produce the output. By looking at GVA growth rate, one can understand which sector of the economy is robust and which is struggling. Now we shall see the linkages or relationship between GVA and GDP. Here note that GDP can be calculated by adding taxes to the GVA and subtracting subsidies. If the taxes earned by the government are more than the subsidy it provides, GDP will be higher than the GVA. See, from here we can conclude that the current gap between GDP and GVA mainly comes from an increase in the taxes collected by the government and subsequent reduction of the governmental subsidies. See, this is all about the discussion. In this discussion, we understood the basics about GDP and GVA from the preliminary perspective. With this basics, let us conclude this and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this Indian Express article. India's manufacturing sector experienced significant growth in February, reaching a 5-month high as indicated by the Purchasing Manager Index or PMI. See, this growth was fueled by an increase in the new export orders and decreasing pricing pressures. The sector has shown consistent expansion over 32 months with strong domestic and international demand driving the positive trend. Additionally, the cost inflation for the purchasing has dropped to a 43-month low, contributing to the sector's robust performance. See, this is the crux of the article. With this basics, in our discussion, let us understand about two important indicators which are relevant for your preliminary examination. They are PMI and PPI. Okay, let's get into discussion. First of all, what is called PMI? See, The Purchasing Manager Index or PMI is an economic indicator derived from the monthly surveys of private sector companies. See, the main goal of PMI is to provide a snapshot of the business environment and forecast economic trends. See, this PMI is compiled for over 40 countries by IHS Markit, an information service provider. See, IHS Markit is now a part of S&P Global, which is recognized for its comprehensive analysis and insight into various industries and economic sectors. Note that PMI covers both the manufacturing and service sector. They gauge the health of these sectors by asking the companies about their output, demand, employment, pricing, and other factors. See, PMI is presented as a number from 0 to 100. A reading above 50 indicates the expansion in the sector, whereas below 50 indicates a contraction, and if the number is exactly 50, it signifies no change. Okay, a rising PMI suggests economic growth, as it indicates that the business are doing well, possibly leading to higher employment rates and wage growth. Conversely, a declining PMI suggests contraction, potentially signaling a slowdown in the economic activity. Moreover, the PMI is typically released at the beginning of each month, making it one of the earliest indicators of economic performance for the previous month. Overall, PMI is crucial for the decision makers, analysts, and investors, as it provides timely insights into the economic condition of the manufacturing and service sector. This is all about the PMI. Now, let us understand about second index, PPI or Producer Price Index. See, the PPI measures the average change over the time in the selling price received by the domestic producers for their output. See, PPI offers insights into inflationary trends at the producer level, that is, before those costs are passed on to the customers. In India, PPI is compiled and released monthly by Office of Economic Advisor, which is a part of Ministry of Commerce and Industry. See, PPI is divided into primary articles like food and minerals, fuel and power, and manufactured products, etc. Services related to these sectors like transportation and communication will also be covered under PPI. Know that PPI does not include indirect tax and subsidies to provide a clearer picture of the actual price changes which is affecting the producers. Now let us see how PPI is calculated. See, there is a formula for calculating PPI. The formula is PPI is equal to bracket of value of total output at base year prices divided by value of total output at current prices, close the bracket, into 100. Here, the value of total output at current prices represents the market value of all goods and services produced in the current period, and the value of total output at the base price represents the market values of goods and services, but calculated using the price from a specific base year. So, this calculation helps us in understanding how much producer's price has changed over time, excluding the impact of inflation by comparing the prices to the base year. See, understanding PPI is essential for gauging the health of economy, as it reflects how price changes are affecting the producers, which can eventually impact the overall inflation which will be experienced by the consumers. See, this is all about the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about two important indicators. They are PMI and PPI. See here, PMI is released by private sector, whereas PPI is compiled and released by government. Okay, with this basics, now let us move on to the next article discussion. Look at this news article. Before the 2024 Lok Sabha election, Indian government is spending 15 crores in 5 states to buy the bags featuring Prime Minister's photo. Know that these bags will be used for distributing the food grains as a part of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana or PMGKAY. See, PMGKAY aims to provide free food grains to around 81.35 crore beneficiaries, including those who are benefiting under Antyodaya Anna Yojana and priority households. The government claims that over 75 crore people benefited each year under PMGKAY in both the years of 2020-21 and 2021-22. See, this is the crux of the article. In this context, let us revise about PMGKAY from prelims perspective. See, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana or PMGKAY was provided as a part of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan package. Under the scheme, nearly 80 crore people, to be precise 81.3 crore people who are covered under NFSA will be provided with 5 kg of free rice per person per month. So for a family of 5 members, 25 kgs of free rice will be provided per month under the scheme. Remember, this is provided in addition to the benefits which will be provided under National Food Security Act. As we know that under NFSA, every beneficiary will be provided with 5 kg of food grains per month at a subsidized rate of 3 per kg of rice, rupees 2 per kg of wheat, and rupees 1 per kg of coarse grains. So, the PMGKA will provide 5 kg of free rice per person per month over and above the benefits which are provided under National Food Security Act. For example, let's take the rice pot alone. A family of 5 members will get 25 kg of free rice per month under PMGKY, and they will also get 25 kg of rice at rupees 3 per kg per month under NFSA. So we can say that total cost incurred for the entire 50 kg of rice is just 75 rupees. Initially, the scheme was set to expire in December 2020, but it was extended till December 2023. But as of now, it has been extended for additional 5 years. See, in January 2023, PMGKAY was integrated with National Food Security Act, resulting in the provision of all rations for AAY and PHS families at no cost. See, this merger eliminated the extra provisions that was introduced during COVID-19 pandemic by incorporating the free component of PMGKAY into NFSA. See, this is all about the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana from prelims perspective. With these learned points, let us conclude this and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this Hindu article. India plans to establish International Big Cat Alliance or IBCA to save big cats like tigers, lions and leopards. See, this alliance will draw inspiration from the successful model of India's initiatives like International Solar Alliance, etc. See, this is the crux of the article. In this context, let us understand more about IBCA or International Big Cat Alliance. See, India is taking a major step forward in wildlife conservation by starting the International Big Cat Alliance. This is because India has had a success in growing its own big cat population, especially tigers. See, this alliance will bring together 96 countries that are home to big cats. See, its goal is to share knowledge, resource and successful strategies to protect the big cats like lion, tigers, leopards, snow leopards, pumas, jaguars and cheetahs. The headquarters of this global initiatives will be in India. Moreover, Indian government is investing 150 crores over 5 years to kickstart this project. On continuing our discussion, you know that India has a significant increase in the tiger population thanks to various conservative efforts. The IBCA aims to use this successful strategy as a model for other countries to replicate. See, this alliance will focus on important activities like sharing conservation strategy, training peoples who work on the front line of conservation, supporting research and monitoring of wildlife, and helping the local communities near the big cats habitats to benefit from ecotourism. Okay, with this basics, let us see a similar initiative to protect tiger called Global Tiger Forum. See, the Global Tiger Forum was founded in 1994 and it is based in New Delhi. It is the world's only intergovernmental organization dedicated to the conservation of tigers. Note that it meets every 3 years. Its main goal includes launching global campaign for tiger conservation, increasing the secured tiger habitats, supporting legal and financial frameworks for conservation, fostering research and training, enhancing the bilateral country cooperation, encouraging adherence to various conservative conventions, and combating illegal poaching. Additionally, the GTF aims to expand the protected area for tigers and ensure their connectivity across the various countries. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about 2 bodies called IBCA and Global Tiger Forum. This is all regarding the discussion. With this, let us move on to the next part of our discussion, that is to discuss the preliminary practice questions. Today we are having 4 questions. I will solve 3 of them and 1 will be the quiz question for you to solve. Okay, let's get into solving questions. See the first question. Consider the following statements about the differences between GDP and GVA. Let us see the first statement. GDP measures the total values of all goods and services produced within the country's borders, while GVA measures the value added by each sector to the economy. See, the statement 1 is perfectly correct, as you have seen it elaborately in our discussion. See the second statement. GDP is always higher than GDA due to the inclusion of taxes and the exclusion of the subsidies. See, this statement is very much correct because this also we saw in our discussion. See the third statement. GVA provides a snapshot of the economy from the demand side, whereas GDP gives a picture from the supply side. See, this is incorrect because the reverse is correct. That is, since GVA actually provides a snapshot of economy from the supply side, not the demand side. Here, you see how many of the statements are incorrect is asking. So, statement 3 alone is incorrect. So, the correct option is option A. See the second question. With reference to the provisions made under the National Food Security Act 2013, consider the following statements. The families coming under the category of BPL are only eligible to receive subsidies under food grains. See, statement 1 is incorrect because the beneficiaries are identified using socio-economic caste census methodology, so even non-BPL will also benefit. See the second statement. The eldest woman in the household of age 18 years or above shall be the head of household for the purpose of issuance of ration card. See, statement 2 is correct. See the third statement. Pregnant and lactating mothers are entitled to take home ration of 1600 calories per day during pregnancy and for 6 months thereafter. See, the third statement also is correct. So statement 1 alone is incorrect. So the correct option is option C. See the third question. Which of the following statements about the International Big Cat Alliance are correct? See the first statement. IBCA is an initiative started by India to share the successful strategy for the conservation of big cats. See, statement 1 is correct. See the second one. The headquarters of IBCA will be located in Russia. See, this is incorrect because the headquarters will be in India. See the third one. The alliance aims to focus on tigers only. See, this is wrong because as the name itself, it's a big cat alliance. So it covers tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, pumas, jaguars and cheetahs. So the correct option is option A. The quiz question of the day is given here. Interested aspirants can comment the correct option. I will post it on the community section also. You can go on and answer it. If you like today's video, like, comment and share it with your friends. For more updates regarding UPSC preparation, subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you very much.